Welcome to EnigmaCast, everybody. We got a special show for you tonight. I don't want to say he's necessarily a B-level actor, but he's close. He's close. He's there, right up to the top, man. Tonight, got a guest star from Mysterious Planet, not Mystery Planet, Mysterious Planet, Scott.
Right.
Scott, say hello.
Hey, Joseph and Jay, thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it. My name is Scott. I run the Mysterious Planet Instagram page. It's mysterious.planet_. So yeah, I'm happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. I'm gonna throw your details up there too, so everybody can get it. Everybody knows Uncle Jay, our urban legends aficionado. Jay, say hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey,
Nice to
how
meet
you doing? Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the show. All right, everybody, we got a special show for you guys tonight here. I'm gonna give a little bit of background on this. I actually was never on Instagram until about maybe 4 or 5 months ago, and the first channel I came across was actually Mysterious Planet. And the second, it was the first follow I put on there. I hit follow. I didn't have, no one was following me. I had no followers. I literally typed in like UFOs, you popped up, and then I typed in cryptids, and the Cryptid Women's Society popped up. So literally, my number one follow was you, number two follow was them, and then actually now it's kind of cool that 4 or 5 months later I get that this has turned into what it's turned in, and we get to have you on the show. So, so yeah, Scott, it's amazing. Your channel is great. So everybody, his information will be right about here. That'll be in the post edit. Go give him a follow, and don't watch his show after 8 o'clock or you won't sleep, and I'll tell you exactly why he keeps me awake at night when we go through this as well. But before we do that, Scott, tell everybody where we can find you. Where is there any other place on the internet we can find you?
Yeah, man. So Instagram is really the home base for Mysterious Planet. I do have a TikTok page, and I have X, and I have the Threads, but I don't use those as much. Really, Instagram is home for me.
Okay. So everybody, so TikToks and X, I'll follow you on TikTok and too, man. I have those as well. So we'll throw it up there. So everybody go give him a follow. Anyways, it's going to be a good night. So Scott, real quick, let our viewers know what you're passionate, man. Like, I thought I was a nerd, right? And I love other nerds, right? Like, but then like when I saw your channel, what your channel actually stood out is that Scott will tell you a story and then put congressional papers or congressional background papers up there, right? And interviews. So Scott, tell us what got you into this, man. What got you fired up to put your level of passion on this, man?
Yeah, man. So really, I've been into the paranormal my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why it wasn't like a single event or anything that happened. It's just ever since I was a child, I was into ghosts, I was into monsters, I was into aliens and UFOs and all that. And then when I hit college, I started actually ghost hunting.
Oh shit.
Yeah, so it started out with just me and some friends, and we went to like the public, it was a public place, it was like a covered bridge over in Thurmont, Maryland. And we would see stuff all the time, people would see stuff, we would get like EVPs recorded all the time. It was super active, so it just kept us going, we kept coming back. We were nerds, we would go back like literally every weekend. That's how we spent our weekends, was ghost on covered bridge. But then, so I eventually ended up joining like a professional ghost hunting. I did that though for a very short period of time, and then life happened, so I ended up stepping away from that. And then I was kind of out of the paranormal scene for a while, up until I started this page back in September 2023, end of September 2023. Started this. It was kind of like an outlet for me, I guess. You know what I mean? Because I love talking about this stuff. I'm so interested in this, but I don't really have many people I can actually talk to about it.
Right.
So just a way for me to post stuff that I'm interested in and get feedback and comments and kind of have dialogue with people that way about it and just kind of express myself through. So, I mean, that's kind of, really what it was. And the page just kind of blew up quicker than I expected.
Dude, I'm not fanboy time, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie, dude. I was looking at your page one morning and it was like 2,000. I went back like 3 days later. It's like 9,000, 10,000. I was like, damn, Scott. Like, yo, I was like, yo, man. Like, and I was looking at your engagement too. And you're like, man, you were pulling down like 2,000, 3,000 views. I was like, man, like, and your comment section is always good to read too. I jump in there every once in a while, but like, comment, yeah. So no, you're blowing up, man. So hey, don't big time us, man. When you get big, dog, act like you don't know that we had you when you're on Rogan, man. Don't act like you weren't here first, bro.
Right. No, not. Yeah, I mean, it's just no. It's been going good. The page has been going well, and
yeah, it is.
You know, one of the like about it a lot is that people tell me shit now. And I'll go.
Well, I mean,
later. Actually.
Yeah, you found your community now, right?
Yeah.
Like this is what the platforms are for, right? Like, it's supposed to be about, you know, finding the people who share the thing that you do, and I think that's why all this stuff is starting to come forward, is because, you know, before we were isolated and easy to kind of separate and now there's a phone in every hand and a camera on every phone, right? And so now we can finally kind of communicate with each other effectively without any filter.
Exactly.
It allows us to find a community and gather together and bring together kind of a cohesive story, you know?
So, exactly. Yeah, man.
Scott, quick question real quick. Have people started emailing you content and asking you to post it yet?
So people haven't really emailed me stuff to post it, but what does happen though is sometimes people will drop a comment and they'll be like, whatever the video was about, right? And they'll comment like, oh, I had experience about XYZ. So I'll comment back of like, hey, shoot me a DM. I want to hear, you know, what's going on. Mm-hmm. So I get stories that way. Sometimes I get it unsolicited where people just will message me and just tell me stuff. And, you know, that's one of the reasons why I enjoy doing this is because I love the stories. Yeah. You know what I mean? I love stories. And it's cool because you always hear the stories that make it to the news or make it in books or in movies, but you don't hear the stories of just, you know, everyday people who are just, you know, some of these people, they would never tell their story. Yeah, right?
No, for sure.
Probably I not have told many people at all. I'm maybe one of the first people to hear it. So I enjoy hearing those type of stories. And really what I want to do ultimately is I want to start incorporating people's stories into the content.
Right.
Stories out there, get their stories known. You know what I mean? And the more stuff that's out there about this, the better it is, because you know how it is with this UFO topic. You know, people are scared to talk, and there's not that much information out there. Yeah. And the more people are interested in it and are willing to talk about it, the better it is for pushing this, you know, this disclosure movement. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Another thing too is like it's at the point now where like I've had, you know, Jay and I have talked. When I started this channel, there's a couple of things that I had put down, right? And one was I was going to treat everybody's story with respect, no matter how, you know, because we do everything. Cryptids. We were talking about the Book of Enoch. We're all over the place, right? And but one thing I have I've only 2 times I've ever had to get, I would say maybe I wouldn't use the term nasty, but the term like firm with people is when they like. If you have to have your head so far up your butt in 2024 to not think that something is going, at least admit it's weird, right? Just give me that, right? Just at least admit it's weird, right?
And I think we can all agree that there's really weird stuff happening.
If you can't meet me there, man, if you can't meet me in the middle and say, okay, that's weird, then you know what, man, I got nothing for you, dude. Then I don't know what it's going to take, right? Like we're doing on it, but yeah. So speaking of that, we're going to roll.
I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I haven't ever had I've never seen a ghost or had a paranormal experience or anything like that. Right. Like, there was a joke amongst my friends. Cause I went to high school in Connecticut, and like, there are some old houses there with like very kind of paranormal activity, supposedly. Right. A friend of mine had a house. His mom collected antique dolls, and they were all in one room. Right. And that was creepy enough.
See, I'm leaving already.
You got to go through there to get to the bathroom at night, in the middle of the night with a party going on. And you're just like, I don't want any of these things to like blink at me or anything like that. But some of the guys had said those things blink at me every once in a while. And I was like, man, I don't even want to know. Yeah. But I never experienced anything like that, you know?
For sure.
And those dolls, I always feel like something's attached to that. Like, you know what I mean? There's some kind of spirit or entity or something attached themselves to this old ass doll. And
it's that anthropomorphization. Okay, it's too big of a word. It's the humanization of a doll, right? that thing where we see faces regardless of
Anthropomorphic, Jay. Can we keep it PG-13? All right, we want Scott to come back. All right. But here you go. Here's a zinger, a fun dinger for you here at Sheldon Cooper, man. You guys, if you want to follow up on that theory, go and read up on why the Amish won't give their kids dolls. Go read about that. Yeah.
Okay.
So like an Amish family, they will never give their kids dolls, and there's some pretty good reasons. It's pretty weird. So check it out on that. But anyway, Scott, before we roll into the nightmare that you give me for the last 6 months, we got gifts for you, man. So don't run off. Channel T-shirt and a channel mug. Let's put that in the mail for you tomorrow. So congratulations on that. If you don't like it, just fake it, man. Just fake it, all right? Don't hurt my feelings, man.
I'll support it. Thank you.
All right, so check it out. We're going to get into this, right? So through the wondrous world of magic, I'm going to put a video in right here.
It's in thermal. It was filmed on a weapons platform. You see that there's a dog there. See the animals are black. I'm assuming this is black hot. You see the object just went to white, and you'll see it going from white to black, white to black. And that's basically showing the heat differential. So it's going like hot and cold, hot and cold. The problem was the optics platform was jammed. These individuals who target with these platforms, they can shoot out an Al-Qaeda tire at 27 miles away, but not being able to lock it was one of the first signs that something's weird. I was able to find direct eyewitnesses and corroborate that this event did happen. When individuals would target in on it with the optics, the way it was described, each of these hanging things, they were stiff, like they weren't moving. They had geometric form, like scales. What was said to be scales, like an armor. There were also people with night vision who were out, and they were tasked to go look for it. Couldn't see it on the night vision. Only in the thermal spectrum could it be seen. But anything that looks like that appears to have a payload, that's a big deal. It could be dangerous, so these are high priority. But what happened is there were a couple other nations involved, and the feeds were shut, just shut immediately. So that put me on high alert too. Why is it completely being shut down? But that's not all it did.
All right, Scott. So now, boom. Scott, I got another question for you here is why is there an Imperial probe droid flying around Afghanistan? That's the more question I got right there. What is that?
Man.
What is that? Talk to me, man.
That video was the wildest UAP UFO video that I've ever seen. That thing is absolutely insane. So yeah, the Jellyfish UAP, that video was dropped by Jeremy Corbell. You know, anyone who's following the UFO disclosure movement right now, you probably know who Jeremy Corbell is, investigative journalist, working really closely with this UAP and UFO disclosure movement. So he dropped this video on TMZ's, what was it called? UFO Revolution show. I was thrown off by the fact it was a TMZ production anyway. They're usually dealing with celebrity gossip and stuff. So it was cool that they're actually dealing with, you know, UFO. Out. Exactly, man. And that's awesome because I think that's ultimately going to help people get more interested in it because there are people who go to TMZ for other stuff. You know what I mean? And now they're going to went to TMZ and they found this UFO documentary. You know, it brings it out to more people. So, yeah, so this video was filmed in Iraq. I want to say it was in 2018. It's at a military base, which is, you know, it should be a no-fly zone at that point.
100%.
There shouldn't be anything flying through there that they don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Right. So that in itself is strange. So it was filmed on a weapons system in infrared. And they see this thing, looks like a jellyfish, hence the name. Has like these long dangly tentacles coming out of it. But they're stiff. They're not like wavy and stuff like that. But yeah, so this thing's moving across the airspace there over the base, and the temperature is fluctuating on this jellyfish because this is it filmed in thermal, and it's going hot and it's going cold and it's going hot and it's going cold. So the temperature fluctuation there is crazy. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if it has something to do with like I don't know, the environment that it's in. Like maybe this thing came from somewhere else. Who knows if this thing's even this thing might be alive, dude. I don't know what this, right? So this thing is wild.
Chameleon or active camouflage or something like that, right?
No, but this, to interject a couple of points there. So Jay and I both were in the military for 10 years, right?
Oh,
thanks for your service.
Oh yeah, well, you're welcome. We spent a lot of time in bars, so yeah.
Right. I feel, I feel really awkward when people say that to me. Do you know why? Because I was on a cruise ship and I jumped from port to port and I drank a lot and I partied a lot.
Somebody had to do it, Scott. Somebody had to do it.
You're welcome.
But I've actually operated through thermals, and there was actually an infrared, and there was something about that video that absolutely that totally had thrown me that throws me off the worst, is their inability to lock on that target. And I can tell you why. I actually know exactly how sensitive those targeting systems are, and I can give you a real world experience on this.
Yeah, give it to me.
On the back of almost every naval vessel, they have these cannons. They call them R2D2s. It looks like a mean, angry R2D2, right? And I think it's called they refer to them as a Sea Whiz, right? Yeah. And these things can knock down anything out of the sky. And one time, we were me and a friend of ours, his name is Rod Clemens. He passed away recently, but he and I were out running. We were just running, right? And it was about 6 o'clock in the morning, and we were running, and these guys thought it would be funny to turn it on, right? They saw what's coming, right? I don't know if you ever heard the story, right?
I have.
They turned it on, right? And this thing went, it locked onto us. It went, it flung to the left, and it locked onto us, right? Clem freaks out and dives into the bushes, and I'm like, what are you doing? And the guy's like, hey man, don't worry, there's no ammo in. And I'm like, man, we had words, Scott. We had words.
We had words. I'm sure you did.
We had words.
That's what I was going to ask. Depending on the base in Iraq, they have a CRAM, and that's what that is.
Yeah.
Like on the back of the ship, it's a phalanx, close-in weapons. Yeah. Right? On the ground, they call it a CRAM. And you'll see them in any of the footage of the latest footage of Israel, right? Mm-hmm. Where the rockets come from Hamas, and you see the little laser line kind of go boom,
yeah,
and it makes that fart noise. And it just leaves a trail of spent uranium ordnance until it hits the rocket, right? But these things are auto tracking, and they're real sensitive. They're meant to shoot down things that are like not that big.
Dr. Pepper can coming at you at Mach 5. And so when I saw that video, and this is why I like it. This is when it really freaked me out. That thing should have been turned into ketchup, like that when it was locking, like. If it would have locked on, it would have blown that thing completely out of the sky. And I'm like, I was like, man, it literally can't lock on. It couldn't. It literally could not lock on, right? So anyway, Scott, so please continue, right? So
yeah. Oh, so yeah, you're right. It didn't lock on, and that in itself is insane. And I didn't have that back knowledge that you guys had on that. So that puts things even more in perspective for me. So yeah, so it couldn't be seen on night vision too, which is the other weird thing. They saw it in infrared. They sent folks with night vision, could not see it in night vision. So this thing's only visible in the thermal spectrum, which is insane. So what is that? What is it? Is it some type of tech? Is it in some type of other, veil of reality that we see in thermal and see it in night vision?
I can tell you what we have. So far, we have the ability to tune the wavelength of what our materials reflect back, right? But that's like cutting edge, right? Where we would be able to block something like microwaves or visible light or whatever. Essentially an invisibility cloak that they're working on, like through material science and stuff like that. But we don't have anything that would react quite like that, to my knowledge, right?
Yeah, and even then, and so Jay, add this to your equation too, Jay. It's like ain't nobody in Afghanistan got nowhere. They nowhere near that. You know what I'm saying? So that ain't
understand technology, sir.
Yeah, exactly right. And so, and I've had a few conversations too before you continue, Scott. It ain't a drone. Don't tell me that's a drone. I'm telling you that it's not a drone. It is 100% not a drone, right? And then the whole, a lot of people don't understand how weird this is. I'm struggling to articulate the words I'm putting on it. You have something that cannot be seen by the naked eye or night vision, can only be seen in the infrared field of vision, and it's fluctuating hot and cold. It's fluctuating hot and cold.
Yeah.
And it can't be locked, and you can't lock onto it, right? I'm just thinking to myself, like, damn, man, that's unkillable. Like it is, man, right? And when you yeah, go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, I'm just saying, that thing's insane. And Jeremy Corbell states that the people who, I guess, try to zoom in on it, and the tentacle-like protrusions coming down, they said that they appeared to be scaly. So I don't know if that's like some type of like armor or what that is. And I mean, the shape of the thing itself is insane. Like, what function does that shape serve? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, airplanes are designed to be aerodynamic. That's why they're shaped like that.
Yeah.
What function of that shape? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Obviously, that thing doesn't operate with the same laws of physics that we know. So what is that shape for? It's just so bizarre.
And so I read something a long time ago where I want to say it was Michio
Kaku.
Yeah, but he was young, right? His hair wasn't gray yet. And I mean, I read this 20 years ago. Michio Kaku, he wrote something saying that the human form, right, is the optimal form of evolution, bipedal, right? Our balance system, 5 fingers, 5 toes, our ability to run. You know what I'm saying? Like, for our environment, you know, we're hunter-gatherers like nobody's business, right? We were built to do this. So he says that it was safe to assume that if life developed on other planets, they too would at least not look like us, but you could expect a bipedal form. They wouldn't need 3 legs, right? They said it'd just be weird to have 3 legs, right? You'd have 2 legs and whatever. And so when I was looking at this, whatever it is, I can't figure out, like, what is this? What are you built for? Like really, what is it? Right? I made the joke about it being an Imperial probe droid, but it really looks like an Imperial probe droid, like Star Wars, man.
So let's take what we know, right? We know that it doesn't seem to emit any kind of visible light, right?
Correct.
The night vision goggles, Joe, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought that was near infrared, wasn't it? Like, just right on the edge of visible light. Or is it just take the light that's available and amplify it? I can't remember how.
I think it takes the light that's available and amplifies. That's what I think it does. I think you have, back in the day, you have 2 types of thermals, right? You have the thermals that you can buy like at home, like Cabela's or whatever, and you can look at a deer. Right. You got like the red, green, yellow. And you got the high-tech military ones that come in with that bright white, right? And it fluctuates on that. So, yeah. But
yeah, man.
I don't know what this thing is built for. And then, Scott, you also sent me another picture here that I can't get out of my head now. Is that I'm going to put that picture up as well with the magic of post-editing. Scott, it looks like somebody's driving this thing, right?
It does, dude. And I don't know. So after this video dropped, I started looking up stuff online, and I came across a drawing, and it was a drawing that someone did, and it showed, that Jellyfish UAP, and it showed someone driving it. And I thought, when I first saw that, I thought like, oh, that's a joke, right? And then I actually watched the video again, and I zoomed in, and I was like, holy shit. Like, it literally looks like it looks like a gray, like a classic gray. It looks like there's a gray alien sitting inside of this thing steering it. And I thought, it could just be pareidolia, right? So pareidolia is basically your brain is trying to interpret something that it can't understand, different shapes and colors, and it just tries to make sense of it. And it makes it, like kind of like a Rorschach test, right? It's really nothing, but your brain makes it look like something, interprets it as something. So maybe it's pareidolia, but it legitimately looks like there is a pilot, a visible pilot, driving this convertible jellyfish over the airbase.
It does. Jay, wait till you see this picture, Jay. I don't think he sent it to me right before the show, Jay, and I'll send it to you when we're done. But that's what it looks like. It looks like a gray, just like going to get groceries, man, and just coming back like this. Like I don't know why, man. Like
it's wild.
I've never seen it like close up. Right. I would love see. The thing that I don't like about stuff like this is, well, and not that I don't like, but I like context.
Right.
Right. Mm-hmm. What was happening 10 minutes before this thing showed up and what happened 10 minutes after.
Yeah, we'll
right?
never,
because I can tell you a lot about what the reason for this thing showing up is, right? Like the Tic Tac video, you see a segment of that, but you don't see it coming up out of the water or diving back into the water.
Right.
And that kind of context it kind of gives you a little bit more of a, hey, this thing is moving in a really, really unreal way. This one it's super obvious that this is moving in an unreal way. And what you're saying about it being like a vehicle, right? A convertible that this guy's driving around. Right. I can kind of see that. I don't know how I feel about it though.
I'll let you know exactly how I effing feel about it in like 2 seconds. But I'll make one more point on this. It's not making any noise. There's dogs walking around it. Like it's completely silent as well. So whatever propulsion it is, it's completely silent, right?
Completely silent.
And I'm just like, what in the world? And this is where Scott, I've had some funny conversations with Jay, man. Like, Scott, do you like Star Wars, Scott? We're big nerds over here. Like Star Wars?
Yeah.
So in Star Wars, man, I tell Jay all the time, man, we're an outer rim mining colony. That's why no one ever comes here, right? Like we're so far out in the middle. We're over here, right? We're with the Junkers and the Ewoks or the Jawas, man. And so when I see this thing, I'm like, this thing's like just going about his day, just doing dropping off like a Amazon delivery because whatever he's doing and just goes away. That's how we are so on their pay no mind list, man. Like I'm just like, what in the world, right in the middle of a hot war zone, right? And so when Jay asked me,
in all honesty, they're just trying to make sure we don't ruin the planet. So that if we die out, so they can recolonize it.
I got a different theory, though, man. I got a different theory. So we'll quick round tables because it's all my questions here, right? So we'll start with you, Scott. Scott, what do you think it was doing?
Man, see, I don't know, and that kind of goes into some of the other conversations we're gonna have, but I don't know because. Like Jay said, there's no context, right? We don't have what happened before, what happened after. Jeremy Corbell says that, after it went through, it dove into the lake. There's a lake there. Dove into the lake, stayed under the water for 17 minutes, and then just took off. We don't see that part of the video. That part of the video is not. But what's the purpose? You know what I mean? Why are you going to military space? And then, it may not even care that it's military space. It may not even know. First of all, they may not care about us and what we're doing. Right? So, I mean, we'll kind of go into reasoning for their visits and stuff like that. But yeah, as far as the actual craft, I have no idea, dude. I'm lost on this.
Me too. I mean, I'm gonna give my time to Jay. I can't for the life of me guess what the hell this thing's doing, man. It's doing something. It is there.
Me. I've always got an explanation. It's going to be wild, but I've got an explanation.
Let us have it.
All right, so the way that this thing is acting, they very much pay no mind, right? I'm not trying to put human intentions against it either, because it's not, right? That's one of the big things that kind of is hard about the problem is this is not something from here.
No.
We're made to think about here. We're used to here. Mm-hmm. We are infinitely adapted to here. They are not. They are infinitely adapted to wherever, right? What if they're here, just like I said, they're checking up, making sure we don't ruin the planet so it's colonizable later on when we eventually, get hit by a meteorite or something.
Yeah, but why there? I mean, Afghanistan's a shithole.
Well, because that's a hot zone for us. It's a hot zone for us.
Probably.
If they're watching, like we already know, okay, there's already been tales in the distant past about watchers. Haven't we spoken about that before, right? Something that's, and see, I don't do the whole angels, demons, aliens, interdimensional. It doesn't really matter. And when it comes down to brass tacks, the place where we're at in humanity, it doesn't matter. It matters that it's not us, right? And then after that, it matters about the intention. Good or bad, meaning harmful or non-harmful. Now, non-harmful is where my hope lies, right? I feel like anything sufficiently, and I'm not denying the possibility of the dark forest, of course, right? Right. Which is why you don't hear from anybody else.
No doubt.
Right.
Yes.
So Scott, I got another question for you. Are you good with this one? You got anything more to add on the jellyfish nightmare?
No, man. It's definitely a nightmare. It's definitely a nightmare, dude. Yeah, I don't really have too much to add to it. Just I guess the only other thing I would say is that some of the attempts to debunk it, right? When this video dropped, people's try to debunk this left and right.
Yeah.
Which is a good thing. You shouldn't just assume something is what it is, right? Because someone tells it is. So, I mean, I appreciate the attempts to debunk it, but the attempts to debunk it, in my mind, were really fucking weak.
Oh, like I didn't see one. I didn't see one. I mean, I was hoping that it was like a drone or something like that, so I could sleep easier. Right? I saw nothing. Nothing came close to explaining this.
People were saying, so one thing was people saying, oh, it's just bird shit on the lens of the thing. But it's definitely not. One, first of all, these are professionals. You don't think they would be able to spot bird shit on a camera lens, right? So, secondly, this thing dove into the ocean eventually, or into the lake that's nearby. If it was bird shit, it wouldn't dive into the lake, right?
And here, Scott, add this to your thing as well. Those scopes are actually, they're surrounded by a great big metal box, first of all, right? And we know in the military what bird shit is, right? And so usually when you see like the things, there's like an overcliff on it and it's angled, right? Like this, right? The bird literally would have to come up under it to shit on it, right? Nothing from the top. So it's not bird shit. It's not
I can debunk that one immediately too.
That at all.
Bird shit, the crosshairs and it would be equidistant for every frame.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, and it wouldn't fluctuate either, man. So that's a good point, Jay. Unless that's what equidistant means.
Yeah, man, that I don't buy. The other thing people were saying was that it was balloons.
Nah.
And first of all, again, balloons don't dive into the ocean. But secondly, if it's balloons, that thing was moving at such a constant pace and unwavering. Like those things, nothing was moving on that. There's no reason for balloons to behave that way in my mind. Yeah. I mean, I'm not a physicist, but I don't think balloons could possibly behave like that. People were saying it was potentially balloons from what was it? A holiday that they celebrate over there. I think it's called. I'm probably going to mispronounce it. Called Eid, E-I-D. And there was someone who actually created a graphic showing these balloons and the letters EID and making the shape of the Jellyfish UAP. But why would they be using English letters for a holiday?
Again, Scott, you use this. If that would have been balloons, that phalanx would have turned to dust. They'd have met Jesus. Yeah. If that was balloons, it would have got nailed out of the air. That's not it. And people need another thing too. They didn't take into context is that where it was at.
On video.
A hot war zone. You understand? Everybody is on edge. Everybody. If anybody saw those balloons, they're thinking they're about to drop an IED on us. That shit is getting dealt with quick.
Immediately.
It's not balloons. Right. It's not poop. Try harder, noobs. Try harder, noobs. We're taking over, man. We're taking over, y'all.
See, that's the thing. Anything with any kind of signature, period, is not going to fly over a military base in that part of the world.
No.
Right.
No. Not at all.
Right.
All right.
Well, man.
So if anybody in the comments wants to argue with us, I brought backup. I'm just gonna at Mysterious Plan. I'll bring Scott in there and knock him down.
Yeah, right.
So Scott, changing gears real quick with a disclosure. I follow your channel a lot, man, and some days I get excited, and then I see the same old fidukery. That's a channel word we use around here, Scott. Fidukery.
And I like it.
Like it goes backwards. What? Tell us where you think the current state of, I don't even know how they can argue this anymore, of disclosure is with the U.S. and why not now? This everybody knows. Why not just come out and say it, right?
Right. You would think so, but I don't know, because I think part of it is it kind of depends on what they are, maybe potentially, right? So people are saying they're potentially aliens, right? People are saying they're interdimensional beings. People are saying that they're demons, right? And we don't know, right? That's just speculation on all of our parts. But also, what is their purpose for coming here? Like Jay was saying, maybe they're here just to make sure that we don't destroy the planet because they're trying to, colonize this place eventually, right? A lot of abductees talk about like a hybridization program, right? And you heard about, and earlier in the show, I said sometimes people tell me shit. I've had someone, without going into their whole story and stuff, but I had someone tell me that they believe they're a part of a hybridization program, and they actually met their baby. They were handed their alien baby by a gray alien.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I'm hoping to bring that story out a little bit more later at some point, in the future. But so what's their purpose of being here, right? So if they're doing a hybridization program, really the point of that would be to slowly integrate themselves into our society until they've pretty much taken it over.
Yeah.
Right. Their goal would be to make it so that their hybrids are almost indistinguishable from us physically, visibly, identically to us. And just slowly take us over. They don't want to be hostile because they don't want to destroy the planet. They want this place. They want to live here.
Yeah.
So just slowly take us over at our time, over a period of time, just infiltrate themselves until it's theirs. And humanity just slowly weeded out, and we're all just hybrids at some point.
Wow.
One of the theories. But for them to go out and say that shit's going to cause mass hysteria. You know what I mean? And
that's actually that's actually a pretty good point right there.
I hate that because I want them to come out and tell. I want to know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
We all know it's happening. I think we all have our theories on what's happening, but I want to hear it from the horse's mouth. What the fuck's going on? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But if it's something like that's really fucking dark. You know what I mean? If they say that, it's going to be pandemonium.
No,
you know what I mean?
It is. And I fell down a rabbit hole today at lunchtime. I went down the crazy street on X, and I made a left turn on X. I ended up without my tinfoil.
You gotta watch that phrasing, man.
The crazy street. Oh, sorry. Yeah, on Twitter. Yeah.
Right.
And somebody was saying that
you did that on purpose.
The extraterrestrials have effectively just wiped out our entire nuclear supply, right? Like they've taken it all away, right? And I don't know if you heard that as well as Scott. Have you ever heard that theory?
Yeah. I've definitely heard that. And you hear a lot of stories about
I read a book a long time ago, I had read a book. I can't remember the author's name. It was called The Day After Roswell, right? And it said that at least at a minimum, we had the ability of a mutually assured destruction. If you invade our planet, we will smoke this planet and no one will get this planet, right? So that was like, so the Russians and all of us were on board, right? And that was basically our deterrence. If we go, you go with us, right? But they're saying now that, and they had some pretty legitimate, pretty good points that they made out in there, as well as that. I mean, you all the time you've heard of these craft landing on these nuclear facilities and shutting the entire grid down, right? And shutting them down, right? And so it made me think that what you just said right there is that if we came out and said this, it'd be like, hey, look, they're here. They're selectively breeding us, and they're timeless. They don't age, but in 100 years, we'll all be used cars. and there's nothing we can do about it. Basically, there's nothing you can do about it.
Used cars.
Yeah, there's nothing you can do about it. So that's it.
Right.
And yeah. So
Yeah.
good point.
That's a reality to face.
Yeah, it is, man.
Right?
So
That's say something like that because it's fucking horrifying.
Yeah.
It is horrifying. Here's the thing. Space is really big.
Right.
People, I just don't really, I don't think, there's a lot of people, I don't think, who conceptualize exactly what that means, right?
Right.
Our closest neighbor, the light from our sun,
Mhm.
takes 4 years to get there, just the light itself,
Right.
According to our physics right now, the amount of energy required to go from here to there at faster than light requires a lot of energy, like the size of the galaxy, right? So
Yeah.
obviously either our physics is not right, which is entirely possible because we don't
Oh, yeah.
understand. We don't understand much of anything. Every day we kind of learn that we don't learn.
How dare you
figured
talk
anything
bad
out.
about theoretical physicists? These guys.
No,
prove
look,
nothing.
any theoretical physicist will tell you that he doesn't know shit.
No,
right?
that's a
'Cause he knows
useless. That's
enough
a,
to
Scott, I
know
think
that he
theoretical
doesn't
physicists are the
really
most
know.
useless people, Scott. That's an inside joke with me and Jerry.
We're gonna anyway. So when I look at that, when I look at just the scale there, right, and the probability of there being, anything new and different and cool about our planet out on the edge of the habitable zone of our galaxy, right? Because let's be honest, man, we are out there. We're in the boonies. This is the West Virginia of our galaxy.
Yeah, for sure.
For reals, right? Like we're way out here. So why would anybody come out to the sticks, right? Why would they?
I got an answer for
Okay,
that.
I can see uncondoned genetic experimentation.
That's it right
that's
there.
that's a valid one.
So
right?
they can, yeah, exactly.
I get it.
So the Federation
they can
doesn't know they're out here
test
fiduciarying us with us. That's what's going on right there.
and that is a
Yeah.
non-zero probability right
Yeah.
there, right?
Yeah.
But that's assuming that there's this galactic society and there's some kind of regulation to it. It could be the wild freaking west out there. It could be we're the last ones around because we were stupid enough to take too long, right?
Right.
Like, and it's just a pile of bones everywhere. Who knows?
Yeah, two nights ago.
It's awfully quiet though.
Yeah,
Right.
two nights ago, I read something that was interesting, Jay. I was going to send it to you, and Scott, I don't know if Jay's big into this stuff. I just want a Millennium Falcon. I don't care how it works, right? So Jay wants to know how it works, right?
I wouldn't get too picky.
So supposedly 40 years ago, there was a major breakthrough. Again, I was in one of those pockets of YouTube. 0 point energy was actually discovered 40 years ago, right? And that 0 point energy, it gives them the power that they need now to basically fold space and time, right? To fold it, right? And then when I was reading Revelations, talks about the Earth, the sky rolling back like a scroll. That's totally a portal. They're talking about a portal, right? And I thought to myself, damn, right? Like, and so to connect the dots with what we're starting to see now in like 2024, I don't know if you guys, I hate to remember when Star Trek, the Federation didn't show up until they saw they could do warp speed or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking to myself, like, have we played that card too many times and we've been detected, like with some of the stuff that we do down here, and we've drawn their attention, right? And all of a sudden they're like, okay, these guys have actually hit a milestone now where they're, and so either they're here to like welcome us or here to knock us back down to the damn Stone Age, right? So that like, it's like, and saying, like, hey, look, you guys, here you go, back to the mud huts with you 1,000 that we leave around to breed up again. But
I
yes,
think of it more as like a containment of infection.
no,
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe, man. Like I said, I'm so positive though.
Yeah, no, we're not ready. Like that's what okay. So if we're gonna talk about like theories, I got a billion of them, right? But the leading one for me right now, assuming that we're in the positive side of the galaxy, right? Like where not everybody is out to get us.
Right.
We don't have the ability to leave the planet yet. So we're kind of beneath notice, right? Number one. Number two, would you want most people to leave our planet and go mingle?
Well, I'm wearing a Deadpool
Right.
I Love Taco shirt. If I'm not an ambassador to the Andromedans, man, I don't know who is, right?
I'm not worried about you, right? But there are nasty people on this planet who do nasty
for sure.
things,
For sure.
right? If a society exists out there, it exists for the benefit of kind of the group. And why would you let something hostile into the group if it's going to be nasty and virulent? Because we breed like rabbits, and we're adaptable to many different situations. We're kind of hardy little things, you know what I mean? Humans are interesting.
What do you think,
in
Scott?
that way.
I mean, that's kind of the thing. Like Jay's saying, like maybe they don't want us. You know what I'm saying? Like humans are aggressive. But at the same time, I'm talking like they're so much better than us. But if these stories are true, they're abducting us and like experimenting on us, which is against our will, right? What I'm saying. So, they're not so much taking the high road either. But I think part two is that aside from maybe what is scary about their potential existence here, whether they're aliens or maybe they've been here longer than us. Maybe they're interdimensional. They were on this planet before we were. Who knows?
Right.
But I think part of it is that with this tech, whatever it is that they have, this is all money. This is all about money. This could potentially be all about money. So let me like that.
Believe.
Tech could provide us with unlimited free energy, right? It could potentially cure us of ailments, whatever technology these beings have, right? But where's the money in that?
Oh no.
There's no. So you're going to cut us off from having this knowledge because society, as we have it now, wouldn't work. We would, there would be businesses would be out of money and all that stuff. So part of this is like there's a story from his name was Jon Stewart. He not the actor Jon Stewart.
Not that Jon Stewart.
Not Stewart. He was a former candidate for governor of Illinois, and he had somebody come to him, somebody who was in the know, and said that this technology was reverse engineered successfully years ago, right? And by Lockheed Martin. Oh, yeah. They had a breakthrough. They were able to create their own UFO, reverse engineered. And they were flying, they were test flying their UFO. They crashed it, right? JSOC, which is I think Joint Special Operations Command, JSOC saw this UFO. They tracked it. They saw it crash. JSOC, thinking it's actually a extraterrestrial UFO, went to go try to retrieve it. Lockheed Martin goes and tries to retrieve their own craft. There's a standoff between JSOC and Lockheed. There's a firefight. A couple JSOC folk get killed because if they don't know who they may not realize it was JSOC, right? But it doesn't matter. They don't want their tech out there. Yeah. Because if their tech gets out there to the public, they're out of business.
Yeah. No, for sure. And to add to that too, you're banging my drum, man, because you want to get me fired up. Pharmaceutical companies are the worst, man. They make clients. They don't cure anything, right? And so when I hear and Jay says it, when it really pisses me off, man, when I see I don't like humans. I go a different direction, right? I actually think that we are a hot commodity, right? I think that if they're down here, they want a hybrid with us. Your world must suck so bad that you're trying to take what's good of us and incorporate it into yourself, right? And even if we go down the biblical creation story. Me and Jay just did something on the what was it, Jay?
Book of
Inky and
Enoch.
Enlil, the Anunnaki. And they all had the same thing, that we are wonderfully and fearfully made, that we're not like them, but we have the potential to be greater than them. There's something about us, right? There's something about us that makes them want to do it. And so I don't like I don't like that when somebody has to lose their house because they have cancer, right? And they should, and then we have the technology like, oh, here, ring this bell, bing, and your cancer's gone. You know what I'm saying? Like in like 40 seconds, right? It's gone, right? Just to keep the status quo going. But I think, man, Scott, that's where I go, right? When I hear these crooks, man, these shysters, right? When they're saying like, oh wow, they really are having these aircraft. We're going to release it on Tuesday, and then Monday on your channel it comes out, oh, they've had a closed door session at 2 a.m. and they said they're going to do what's called a slow disclosure starting in when? September. Mother trucker. I was like, what are you talking? So so I think you're onto something, man. Somebody went in there with a checkbook and said, hey, look, man, this is us. We're building this. We did get it from a crashed UFO, but the other 20 you see, that's ours. That is pissing me off.
Let's be realistic, though. That's a lot of money, right? So the people in power have a vested interest in staying in power.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's pretty much holds true.
No, they say they want to be there till they're 99.
Right? So look at all the things that have come out so far, right? These are the things that have been disclosed so far. These are acknowledged truths, right? By the government and by everyone.
Right.
They're saying that there is a program. We've been studying craft. We've been taking this data in, right? Here's where our inside knowledge, Joe and I, can say, okay, so yes, they're taking all these reports in. They're funneling them into this Aero office. And then where is it going? Yeah. Where is all that data going? Who has access to that data? Is it going to an independent contracting company that the government has hired, a federal contractor to go and investigate these things? Or are individuals from the Air Force going? Because I'm pretty sure it's not the Air Force going on investigating these. Just by knowing how the government does things, they're going to contract it out.
It's 100% contract.
And one of the bigger contractors is Northrop Grumman, and they've got Lockheed Martin, and they're not just. And Joe and I were talking about this before. They're not just defense contractors. They're in every agency of the federal government, right? And so they have the ability to gather the data without anybody even knowing that they're gathering the data, because that's what they've been hired to do.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So it's kind of insidious, and there's no obfuscation. There's no hiding there. They're not like trying to hide what they're doing. They're just doing the thing.
Oh yeah, they don't give a dookery anymore, man. They'll put it in our face. They don't care, bro. They absolutely do not care.
Like that is a thing that is all of that is established fact.
Yeah.
Right. All of that exists. That's not a conspiracy theory or anything. That is just how the government operates. And so if you're going to have all these subcontractors doing all of these things for the military and for the civilian side, there has to be some kind of regulation or some kind of insight. You can't just say, oh, it's all top secret SCI. The only way you can see it is in a skiff, right? Because some of that stuff, it's too broad of a scope for a private industry to have control over that kind of information.
Yes, exactly.
I got another question for you, Scott.
Yeah, what's up?
So, okay, let's keep tugging that thread, right? It's that it's us, right? And some of these things I 100% believe. I've even said in my videos before, that's probably us, right? Those are ours, right? What are they doing with these things?
They're trying to get off planet.
You think?
Dude, oh man, do you realize how much money is right there?
Damn.
Right. I mean, we could be trying to get off planet, but also with this tech, I mean, we're already, the United States is already sort of like, the world power here. Mm-hmm. But this might be tech to be used if China decides to step up, or Russia decides to step up. We could just put them to rest immediately and just take over.
So yeah,
It would be an insurance policy, basically. If someone wants to step forward and take the challenge, we're just going to end you.
Yeah, that's a good point, man.
I mean,
too.
but
So
see,
when
we can kind of do that right now anyway.
well, so
We
well, no. That's a good point. Let me follow some historical background on it. I don't know, Scott, how old you are, but do you remember when Ronald Reagan bombed Gaddafi? You guys remember that?
I do.
I was not in the news.
So anyway, here's the thing. Here's an interesting thing that a lot of people don't know about, and it plays in exactly what you just said. Ronald Reagan, when he bombed Gaddafi, he killed some people in his family, but that was the first time they ever used the F-14, which was the Goose and Maverick planes, right? Those planes were considered top secret, right? And no one had ever seen them before. But Ronald Reagan said it was basically his version of the Skunk Works, pull them out, and they went over there and they dropped it too. And Jay and I were intel guys in the military, and I read something. We had to do lots of training in there, and one of the trainings was on the SR-71 Blackbird, right? They used to call it the Weeping Blackbird, right? And they used to fly over Russia. I think they declassified that out of the blue one day. This out of the blue SR-71 Blackbird, and they literally rolled it into the Naval Air Station Museum in Pensacola, Florida, is where it's at, right? They rolled it in there. And then they never talk about it anymore. But we were like, damn. Well, what'd they replace it with? So whatever they replaced it with, right? You still don't even know what it is, right? So that makes me think about what you were just talking about. Like, damn, if they,
I know what they replaced it with.
People want to say it was the stealth, right? But still, what do you think? What do you think it was?
Whatever they upgraded the satellite network that we used to work on.
Oh yeah, it's possible.
With,
but I was thinking also too.
The resolution got high enough that they didn't need the Blackbird anymore. Possible.
Or like Scott, or to follow on Scott's thread, they did create that 0-point energy, and Lockheed Martin says, hey, look, man, I can get this in the troposphere and don't need the ionosphere, the stratosphere. There's not a missile that can knock us down. I can give you what else we can go on it as well. But it's just depressing, don't you think, fellas? At the end of the day, it comes back to who can kill who the quickest and how much money we can make by mining the moon. You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, well, I mean, think about it, dude. It's always about the money.
Yeah,
Always. With these companies, you're talking about a defense contractor that's like deeply, deeply entrenched in the United States government, right? They have been feeding off the teat so long that if it's cut off, they're not going to survive.
No.
Right? So here's the deal. The only way to survive something like that, the only way to diversify, right, is to go from, let's call it what it is, to move from the empire out, right? They're the first company to go and successfully grab one of those asteroids, and be able to gather that resource and in a way that they can make it a consumable is going to be rich beyond anyone's imagining. There are things out there entirely made of platinum, like the entire big, huge rock the size of giant stadium made out of gold and things like that.
They're saying that asteroid mining could yield $1 trillion an asteroid. $1 trillion. I'm just thinking like, dang, bro. Yeah.
And so when you made as much money as you could possibly make, where do you look? You look to the technology that can get you to the next money-making level.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's it. That is it.
So Scott, another question. I'm throwing questions at you, man. So knock them out. Do you think? So I actually think that 2024 is going to be something that's going to we ain't never going back to the way it was before. That's just my opinion. One way or the other, man. This bitch this ship is going to ride out, or it's the Hunger Games, man, and we're winning. The Southeast is winning, right? But what is your gut feeling about this disclosure? Do you think it's ever going to happen? Like ever going to come out and say, hey, look, man?
I think it will, and it might be what they're calling catastrophic disclosure,
right?
Which is people are just.
Can you explain that for us? Explain that for us.
Yeah, catastrophic disclosure is basically the opposite of controlled disclosure, right? So the government wants to do controlled disclosure, where they just tell you little things here and there to, satisfy you, and over time, maybe increase that information. Catastrophic disclosure is pretty much people coming out, whistleblowers, and just being like, look, this is what's going on. They're not going to wait for the government to give them permission to say. They're just going to go out there and say shit.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we're actually headed.
Yeah. No, it's.
I think because news on this 2024. We're young in the year, and this is still blowing up, right?
Yeah.
And I think this year, like you said, I think we're, or at least I'm hoping that we're going to hit an area, like you said, a point of no return.
Yeah.
Right. And it's going to come out one way or the other. You can tell us, or we're just going to, take that information whatever way we can, but it's going to come out.
Yeah, and that's a great point too, is because outside of what we do for fun here, when we no one, almost like 8 out of 10 people are going to come out and say, yeah, man, something's going on. There's only the hardcore hangers-oners, like I said, are like refusing to admit anything, right? Like, and so I'm just thinking to myself that if we survive this eclipse, I was telling Jay about pre-show April 8th, right? If we survive this eclipse, right, that comes down, and we're so early in the year, and it's just getting hotter and hotter and rolling and rolling and rolling. And I just don't see, like, no one buys it anymore. No one buys this shit anymore, man. And so, come on, man. If it's ours, it's ours, man. But like, we're never going to go back to the way it was before. That's just my opinion.
No, I don't think we've. And what makes this tough too is that as far as what Congress is doing, which I think is great. I absolutely love that they're really pushing this issue. I mean, that's amazing. This is the first time in history something like this is going on. Right. But I think what makes it tough for them is they have to go and do it by a certain set of rules, right? They have to arrange these like field hearings and all this other stuff. And it's so the knowledge of this is so compartmentalized. Like there's probably only a handful of people that know, and everybody else just gets small amounts of information, not enough that they can actually, when they testify, it's not that they're lying, they just don't know.
Yeah, they just don't know.
Right?
Yeah.
So I heard that's what they did when the invention of the atomic bomb. They had a bunch come in and they said, you're in charge of doing this, you're in charge of doing this. They had no idea what they were making. Yeah. They didn't know they were making, but they were making.
I mean, that's the definition of InfoSec, right? Like that is how it is done, period.
I mean, that's literally
the definition. Tell anybody what they don't need to know.
That's what SCI stands for, Sensitive Compartmented Information. So TS/SCI is like you're getting a slice of the pie to go in there to do it. But so fingers crossed, one way, either stock up on bows and arrows because eventually the ammo runs out, right? And then freaking learn to fish.
I'm leaning towards this catastrophic disclosure thing simply because based on Congress's kind of inability to kind of do anything but attack TikTok, I think that I gotta think that these guys are not going to wait forever. They're trickling this stuff out, and they're like, you guys need to start disclosing this stuff, or we're going to do it. And he keeps dropping stuff. I like Jeremy Corbell. I love that he's everywhere right now because somebody's got to be doing it, right?
Right.
Me, I don't distinguish between angel, devil, interdimensional, UAP, whatever. It's just a matter of conveyance in my mind. How did they get here? Yeah, okay. These ones came in ships and these ones come through portals. It doesn't really matter. What matters is their intentions towards us, right? And towards our planet.
All right, so Scott, let me throw that to you. What do you think they are, Scott? Aliens or demons?
See, I don't know if I think they're demons necessarily. Although there's stories, Diana Polsoka. She is a religious professor. I think she's Catholic herself, and she talked about a story where there was a saint. Teresa of Avila, I want to say her name was, who in her diary wrote that she had an encounter with an angel. Okay, because that's the context she has, being a nun, right? She had an encounter with an angel. The angel was childlike, right? So when you hear about grays, they're about 3 feet tall, say. And this angel, quote unquote angel, what she wrote in her diary, according to Diana Pasulka, was that this angel had a wand type device and it shoved it into her entrails.
Dang. Okay.
So that doesn't sound like angel behavior to me.
No, for sure.
And that sounds a lot like aliens doing genetic experiments on somebody, or some type of experiments. So, and that goes down in the Catholic religion as, you know, it was an angel encounter. This was a miracle. But that sounds fucking horrifying to me.
No, for sure.
I don't know if
100%.
Right. So I don't know if these things are demons or they are aliens or interdimensional, and, you know, they just categorize it as demons because they don't have anything else to attach it to. That's the closest thing they can attach it to. It's an angel or a demon. There's nothing else. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it could be aliens. It could be interdimensional. A lot of people believe it's interdimensional, and they were here before us. This was their planet. You know what I mean?
No.
And it took over. One thing I will say is I know in Muslim religions, there's jinn.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know too much about, you know, the history of that. I don't want to misspeak. But from my understanding, the jinn were here before humans.
Yeah.
Jinn were like outcasted, basically.
Yep.
And humanity kind of inherited the planet there. So maybe these things are jinn and they're interdimensional and they were here, want their fucking planet back.
And so it's funny too, like me and Jay, we went down a deep rabbit hole, man. We did the Book of Enoch, and then we did the Anunnaki. The Book of Enoch, if you read it, the Book of Enoch and the Anunnaki, it's the Watchers, it's the Anunnaki, it's the same story, right? Even down to the flood. Except in the Book of Enoch, right there, the Book of Enoch describes them as fallen angels. The Sumerian tablets will say that they were just, basically it's a first contact story. But here's what I'm gonna let y'all go. Jay knows, Scott. I'm gonna let you know where my mind runs. Right?
Do it.
I think that they're all real. I think that we are like in some like hodgepodge freaking, like we are something about where we're at on this earth, either that where you know we don't get a lot of attention or they don't mess with us. Angels are real, demons are real, jinns are real, aliens are real, Dogman is damn real, you know what I'm saying? And Bigfoots are real, the Pudgewudgies are real, and freaking, like, I don't know if you ever heard what a Pudgewudgie is up in like north and northeast, right? It's like little gnomes or what, Scott, you ever heard those?
No.
It's a Native American term for basically a little forest gnome. They call them the Pudgewudgies, right? Pudgewudgies, man, is terrifying. And every single society on this planet has a word for a reptilian humanoid. They call them the Naga. They call it, and Japan has one. And so they're all seeing a reptilian species, subterranean. And then everywhere you go, even from Australia to the U.S., everybody knows what a gray is. I don't give a shit if you believe in it or not. You know what a gray is, right? That's fact, right? That is fact. So you know what a gray is. Everybody's seen shadow. Everybody knows what a shadow person is. Everybody knows what the Nephilim is now.
Right.
And so my mind and again, man, I even had this conversation with Jay a while ago. You know, Sumerian language on those tablets, the cuneiform. I'm sorry, the cuneiform. They have a word for a vampire in there, something that drinks human blood, vampiri or something like that, and that's the oldest language we got. So back then they're talking about vampires, right? And I'm thinking to myself, man, like I've gotten to a few conversations with people saying, like, if you think we live on a boring planet, man, you are an NPC, man. You just really are, man. You are a non-player character, bro.
Right. Yeah,
that's facts. I really think that all this stuff exists or had it.
Yeah.
Like culture across several cultures, dragons,
Yeah.
right? People don't see dragons but there are cultures from different parts of the globe who talk dragons.
Yeah.
And did they coincidentally all make up the same story?
No.
Probably.
No,
That's coming from. So I think all that stuff, Bigfoot, dragons, mermaids, everything is either existed or still exists.
So yeah,
But,
and here's where I'll come from just a different angle, right?
Yeah.
I was going to make a comment about Everett's interpretation, right?
Right.
Of the multiverse. All stories are true, right? Somewhere, somehow. Some people think that that probability overlays itself, right? And that some of these things that people see are just two probabilities intersecting where one species exists and the other species exists. And in this particular space-time, continuum right here in this little spot in the Adirondacks, right? It's this weird quantum anomaly where the things the paths cross, right? And somebody sees shit all the time, right? Mm-hmm. Like Mount Shasta, right? That's a big kind of theory about Mount Shasta, that it's just this weird quantum bubble that we have no idea how to look at.
Mount Shasta's crazy. Yeah.
We don't know, right? I go by the stories, right? So all of the stories have a common thread and a common skeleton to them, right? And so that's where I go. I go right straight to the commonalities. In my mind, I feel like this is kind of just telling a really long story if you look real close, right? The first books talk about sky people a lot, right? The first books of every culture talk about sky people a lot, right? So we saw sky people. They came down and made us. In a lot of the legends, we were made, not sprang from the earth. We were made by something else, right? Created, crafted, whether it be good or ill or however it happened. It's created specifically, right? And so for us as new humans, in our stories, what context do we have for a thing, an entity creating another entity, not birthing it, creating it, making it, and crafting is a totally different thing than birthing, right? And so that's a common thread throughout. And so, in my mind, if I'm going to carry that kind of beginning forward to an inevitable end, it's that this experiment got out of control, because that's what it's telling us, right? And that for some reason we were able to breed with something that wasn't us, right? Something from who knows where, and that in and of itself might have been special, right?
Well, I think it was.
And then we were cleansed, right,
blood.
of that taint, and now maybe they're just checking to see how long that taint lasts.
Right. We could be some alien kid science fair project.
No
mean,
because think of what the Nephilim and the giants were like. If you take even a little smidgen of that description and what we were capable of producing when interbreeding with another species, our legends tell us what's happening.
Right. Exactly.
But I got to tell you, Scott and Jay, man, out of all the theories, that's the one I effing hate the most. If I am some kid's freaking Age of Empires simulation game, I don't know what, I'm done.
And that's why they're not telling you, right? And that's why they're not telling you. Because if we are special, that's a thing. If we're not special and we're just some failed experiment, that's a thing too. How are people going to react to either of those things?
And I've been having these weird thoughts lately too, man. You remember the movie Total Recall? That I'm going to wake up one morning and I'm in an arcade, right? And I've just in the last
right. You're going to pull the helmet off.
That'll melt me, bro. I'm telling you, that shit will melt me, man.
You'll wake up and it'll be real dark, and then the pot will open.
And like, insert $5 more. I'm like, are you for real?
Some chick will look down at you and be like, You've been in there a long time.
I'm like, no,
Yeah.
man, I can't do it.
At least 3 hours.
Man. So anyway, so I got one more question for you, Scott. All right, I know I'm keeping you long here, man. One more question. All right. Do you go to any like UFO conferences or anything else like that?
I haven't, man. I would love to. I haven't. Like I said, when I started this Instagram page, it was just back like 6 months ago. So that's when I kind of started getting my feet in the door with this stuff again. And so I haven't been to one yet, but man, I would love to.
We want to go too. So when I Googled it up, man, I can't find any. I can't find one. So if you come across one, man, hit us up, dude. And if I'll do the same to you, I'm like, hey, man, I'm going to go check this out. And the only one I could find was like a Burning Man at Roswell. And I'm like, this ain't what I'm talking about, people. When I was Googling it,
Right. Not really a UFO conference, so to speak.
So like, I do know, and where we're located, like we actually are in a pretty decent area. I think Dr. Greer like 3 months ago was in DC talking, like doing like lectures, right? And I know you guys know who Sean Ryan is on YouTube? Like Sean Ryan was there as well, right? And I saw a couple other people. And so like we're in like an area that they would go to. And so like I'll keep
Can't
my
you
eyes
just
on
go to a congressional hearing?
No, like I want to go to like I want to try to meet like Giorgio. I want to meet Giorgio, man. Like I'm trying to go where Giorgio would be at, right? So I could like, talk to him just like that, man. Not saying it's aliens. It's probably aliens. That's Giorgio's thing. Like I said, you ever seen those movies? Not saying it was ancient aliens.
He embraced it, man. Yeah, why not, right?
So that's what I would want. That's what I would want to do on that to do it. All right, well, freaking Scott, my heart's pounding over here, man. Like third podcast in a row where my blood pressure's up, and I'm gonna go in here and lay in bed at night thinking that I'm in a simulation, and that little jellyfish was just a program resetting,
just monitoring us,
just resetting part of the simulation or whatever to come across, right? That went through the war simulator to go through it. Yeah. But all right.
Well, I appreciate you having me on.
No, so hey, look, Scott, man, it's been a great pleasure, man. Like I said, we try to keep it like around an hour and 25. So thanks for hanging out a little bit longer, dude, to stick around. But it's great to have you, man. So look, you're in my crew now, man. You're an Enigmite now, man. So just get ready.
Cool.
Don't leave the Discord. So we hit it up.
Yeah.
So this fun thing that I'm going to invite you to it now. This fun thing that Jay and I was talking about. People have started to email me things, right? And at first I'm like, damn, did I piss somebody off? Like, am I about to get like a Trojan horse on my thing, right? So, but no, it actually turns out that people have sent me some videos that they would like me to put up. So me and Jay were talking that like when I started this channel, I was like, I'm not going to post just to post,
right?
And I'm not going to also, I'm not going to disrespect anybody and be like, hey, look, man, what are you sending me? Some of these videos, Scott. What are you sending me? like, come on, man. That's your cat slapping a remote control around. That's not a. So what me and Jay are gonna do? I'm gonna compile them, right? And we're gonna do a show when I get like about 10 of them, and we're gonna set up. Jay's gonna show me how to set up OBS, man, and we're gonna do like a watch party, right? So I want to invite you with that. I'm gonna invite Juliet and Lisa that, and that way we can sit around and we can talk about. These are the videos that didn't make the Ancient Enigma Files cut.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give him a free t-shirt. I said I'll give him a free t-shirt, man. So no hard feelings, right? And so I'll give you a free t-shirt. But I some of these videos, man, I'm like, that's a drone, right? Not only is that a drone,
or
that's like a
that kid in his backyard swinging the pipe plate around. It's no, sir, no.
Yeah, so we can't have those.
Sorry.
We're bad.
All right, so if you've stuck around this long, this is how I close the show, Scott. But if you stuck around this long, you're our top of losers. So look, man, bang that subscribe button. We're at 900 and what was it, Jay? 962 subscribers.
Awesome.
We're 38 away from getting 1,000. So just so I can let everybody know that we got 1,000 on YouTube, and then go to 10,000 after that, then 100K, and then 1 million, and then we all sit around and make YouTube videos all day, boys. What do y'all say? You good with that?
Sounds good.
If you stuck around, So thanks for tuning in again. Scott at Mysterious Planet, His icon is underneath his name down there. Go over there and follow him on Instagram. He's a breath. I think Scott, like you're like 4 away from 10K, man. So like, wow.
I'm close.
So close, man. Go over there and push him over the top, guys. Everybody stick around and see you next time. Later.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right.
Have a good one.
Subscribe now and turn on the notifications to join us on this extraordinary journey into the unknown.